Hey, welcome back. This is Joe Blasco for MUA-TV's Spotlight on Success, and we're still at Dan Striepeke's home in the beautiful hills high above Sunset Boulevard, overlooking the entire city of Hollywood and Los Angeles. And I have Linda Gurisic, one of Hollywood's leading hairstylists, with us today. And Linda, you're also taking this class at Danny's house. But before we talk about the class at Danny's house, tell me about your career as a hairstylist. You've done, how many films have you done? We've been talking to all the other hairstylists. Now let's hear about your fantastic career.
Somewhere around 80. I haven't counted them all.
What is it like to do 80 films?
Well,
I mean, these are major films.
Time. They were major films.
And that's all IA films, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, all IA.
And at what point did you suddenly realize, wow, I'm really doing a lot?
Somewhere in the 80s, I thought.
In the 1980s, yeah.
In the 1980s, when I was doing pictures back to back, and no time in between, I thought, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it so much, and so I worked as much as I could at the time.
Yeah. Were you originally from a salon? Did you work in salons and then come into the business?
My parents owned a beauty salon in Beverly Hills, and my grandfather was the cameraman on all the Laurel and Hardy pictures and Our Gang comedy pictures.
Yes.
But he died when I was 8, so there's no nepotism there.
Yes.
And but my father and mother loved films, and they talked about my grandfather all the time and his escapades.
Yeah.
So I met a lady at a party who happened to be head of hairstyling at Paramount, and she suggested, I had just gotten married, got out of beauty school, and
Can you remember who that was? The name?
Helen Turpin.
Helen Turpin.
Yes.
I've seen her name in credits.
Yes.
Yes.
And
she was
she was head of hairstyling
while Wally Westmore was
I think
makeup
so,
department
yes.
head.
I never went over there to Paramount, but I actually started at Warner Brothers.
I see.
My first call was 2 years later after I filled out the application.
My God.
And they called and asked me to be on The Great Race. And Kathy was there.
Yes.
And I worked in the bullpen, and all we did was pin big hats on great big hairstyles. We made great big teasing hairstyles and filled them all up with crepe wool and pinned big hats on them and sent them away. I never got out on the set. That's all I did all day was pin hats.
That was your introduction to being a
introduction.
professional motion picture hairstylist.
And then slowly they started calling me, and I started working more. And
now Kathy Blondell was the head of that film, right? The head hairstylist for that film was.
I don't think so.
No.
She was working in the
She was working in the bullpen with you. I see. So you've known each other since way back then.
We kind of started out.
Wow, you started off
at the same
together.
time, yeah.
That's terrific.
And then I just got busier and busier, and I helped out on films, and I went over to Fox, and I worked on films over there.
Yes.
And I worked on all the children on Sound of Music.
Sound
when
of
they
Music.
Came back
sure.
From Austria.
Yes.
They hired me to just do the children.
Yes.
So I worked on that for weeks.
Yes.
And it was so wonderful.
Yeah. What a great film. What a great experience.
Numbers,
oh,
it was
sure.
So great.
With Julie Andrews.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a wonderful person to work with.
She was great.
I had a great experience working with her at ABC Television for a year on the Julie Andrews Hour. It was a wonderful experience.
Terrific,
Yeah, and I'll tell you, you've done so many films. Give us a few titles that we would know. The Sound of Music, one of them.
The Sound of Music, All the President's Men, Coming Home.
Oh, yeah.
The Doors, Heaven Can Wait.
Oh, great film.
I worked with
these are
Warren
wonderful.
Beatty for 25 years.
Oh, my.
So I did all of his films, starting with Heaven Can Wait.
Yes. What a great film. That's a remake of, what is the name of that?
Something Mr.
Mr.
Jordan.
Mr. Jordan. Here Comes
Here
Mr.
Comes
Jordan.
Mr. Jordan.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a wonderful film.
And it was just delightful to work on,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
It was a wonderful location up in near Palo Alto.
Yes. Who are some of your favorite stars to work on?
It's so hard to say. Maureen Stapleton
Oh, yes.
was absolutely wonderful.
Yes, yes.
And Jenna Rollins.
Oh, absolutely.
She's absolutely wonderful.
She's a gem. Oh, my God.
Gem.
She did a film, The Skeleton Key. Did you work on The Skeleton? You
didn't.
didn't?
No.
Well, have you seen that film?
I haven't.
Oh, she is unbelievable in this film.
She's a great
Yeah,
actress.
a great actress, great actress. She was married to John Cassavetes
Yeah.
for a while.
For a
And they
long
did a film that took place on an island in Greece, and I can't remember to save my life the name of that film. But it's such an uplifting, riotous kind of film.
Oh.
I have to think of what it is, and we'll let you know. But back to you. Sorry about that. So you've done all these films, and you obviously have loved what you've done. And if you could do it all over again, what would you change?
I don't think I'd change anything. I got to travel to wonderful places that
Yes.
I wouldn't normally ever see,
Yes.
and see them in such a way that tourists don't get to see them because
Yes.
you're working among the people and going to Africa, and I worked in the same location that they shot Born Free, and
Oh,
saw
yeah.
all the herds of zebras, and it was just amazing.
Yeah. And now, there's so many young people out there in our audience, and some not so young, that are wanting to get into film as a hairstylist, or wanting to advance their careers as hairstylists within the film industry. What words of advice or wisdom would you give to them that to set them in the right path, to make them, to give them a little more understanding of what it's going to take to get into this business?
Well, I think not only do you have to be good at what you do, you also have to be personable and not try to be the star.
Right.
There are too many other stars
That's right.
working on a set, so you're just there to do your job and let all of them take the glory. So, because it is a wonderful job, it pays well, and you have the medical is great, the
Yes.
insurance.
Yes. The motion picture medical.
Yes,
Motion picture insurance. Yes.
it's just
Yeah,
wonderful.
it's terrific.
And you get to see things no one else gets to see.
Yes.
It's just terrific.
Yes.
And it's wonderful working around so many talented
Yes,
people.
yeah, absolutely. When you started in the business, obviously it was a different time, and now so many things have changed. What change do you think has affected working as a hairstylist more than any other?
You know, I'm writing a book right now about, it started out about how different things are today than
Yes.
they were when I started out.
Yes, good. Well, I hit on it.
And yes, you did. When
And I swear to you, I didn't know she was writing a book. And we have to do another interview when the book comes out.
When the book comes out,
Perfect.
we will.
Because we have an entire world of audience that would be very interested in reading that. They're going to, and what is that?
Well, there's so many things. Kathy will remember this too. And the actors didn't have their own trailers. They all worked out of a honey wagon. And we used to have to do the hair and makeup outside the honey wagon. Along the side of it, they would set up a big, huge mirror that would pull up from the side, and then a tray would come down that we could put some things on, and then we set up chairs, and we always worked outdoors in the open, whether it was 4 o'clock in the morning and dark, or if it was nights, or if it was raining. It didn't matter. That's where we had to do hair. And
That's tough.
It's long before there were makeup trailers or anything, and it was tough.
Yeah, these are things that make the hairstylists that work in salons aren't aware of.
Exactly. And at first, we would have to use the Honey Wagon driver's chairs that he supplied us. And they were all the tall canvas chairs.
Yes.
Well, I'm short, and to have to do hair with my arms up here, I ended up having to buy my own chair that was shorter. And pretty soon everyone was buying their own chairs.
Shorter chair.
And you'd have to
So you started a trend.
lug it in your car and to the location,
Right.
and none of that. And we used to do, in the big studios, we used to do hair in the makeup department.
Yes.
And they had a, excuse me, a head makeup artist and a head hairstylist. And we would work under them in the makeup department, and they had rooms.
Yes.
And then a car would come and pick me and the actress up and take us to the stage. Well, as soon as the actors started getting their own trailers, then we would do their hair in their trailers. Or then the makeup trailers came along, and we got to have our own places to do hair.
So it's the workplace.
Up to, yes,
Yeah.
and we could leave our equipment in the makeup
Lock it up
trailer.
overnight and we'd have to take it with you.
In previous years, we would have to lug it all over the place, and it was exhausting.
Yeah.
So it has changed.
Yeah, quite a bit.
And there are no more makeup departments
Yes.
in the studios, unfortunately. There are no department head hairstylists or makeup artists. We are our own
Each
entity.
film.
Each
Yes.
film is its own
Yeah,
entity.
and in actuality, if you think about it, that's opened up a lot more work for people.
A lot
You
more.
know, because now instead of the studio having a handful of makeup artists that did makeup for all films, now there's quite a few makeup artists working on each film and
Exactly.
hairstylists.
Exactly.
So, which I think is great. And what you're saying about the trailers, no one has mentioned that. I've asked several people, what changes they've seen. They normally they talk about lighting, or they talk about camera, or whatever, or the resolution of the film or the film type.
But that
And
doesn't
this
have
is the
anything
first,
to do with us.
That's right. It's the first time that, exactly with hair, that someone has mentioned this, and it's a very relevant issue. And have you worked yet in Jeff Dawn's? He has a trailer. What is it called? The Pegasus. Have you heard of that?
I have heard
It's
of
like
it.
the
I
creme de la
haven't.
creme
Yeah.
of makeup and hair trailers.
No,
Yeah.
I have not.
Yeah.
I've worked in some fabulous makeup and hair trailers, but I have not worked in Pegasus.
Who's your favorite actress?
Oh, my favorite actress. I don't know.
You love them all. Yeah.
I
There's
do.
so many. There's so many to work with.
There are so
You know,
many
honestly,
great
it's not fair. It's not fair for me to ask a question like that. I'm sorry.
Well,
you work with so many wonderful people.
It's hard.
to just pick one person
It
out.
is.
You know.
It is.
I know. I feel the same way.
Yeah, because so many of them,
Yeah.
and the bigger they are, the more wonderful they are
Right.
usually.
Right. And the book. Let's get back to the book for a moment. How far along in the process are you with the book?
I'm probably 3/4 of the way through.
How large
So-
of a book? How many pages? Give us an idea.
Well, there'll be pictures involved too, so I would imagine there'll be 100 pages.
Yeah.
100
Yeah, a good sized book.
150. It
That's
should
excellent.
not be
Yeah, very good.
too short.
And will you permit us to interview you again then when the book
Absolutely.
comes out?
Absolutely.
Terrific. We'll tell the entire world about your book.
That
do
would
you
be
want
great.
What is it going to be called? Do you have a
I
title yet? You don't have a title yet?
I don't have a title, but I'll let you know as
Yep.
soon as I do.
Absolutely.
Okay,
All right.
Joe.
Linda, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Such a
much.
pleasure. And you've just been visiting with Linda Guristich.
Guristich?
Hang on. Here, let me shake hands again. Guristich.
Okay.
And you've just been visiting with Linda Guristich, one of Hollywood's master hairstylists. And we're still here at Dan Striepek's home, high above Hollywood. Don't you go away, because we're going to be right back with more hair coverage and sculpting right after this. All right, we're in Dan Striepke's home right now, his beautiful home here in Hollywood. And Dan is going to give us a tour. He's going to give us a tour actually of the artwork, some of the artwork that he has collected and or made himself. So at this very moment, I'm going to turn the show over to Mr. Daniel Striepke. Take it away, Dan.
Thank you, Joe. This is my latest creation. His name is Jake. I've always wanted to do Western art. I've never really gone for that type of art, but so I decided to give this guy a try. And he's a crazy guy. Somebody just fell off the horse. Jake is laughing, and I just love him. He's a lot of fun. My wife and I look at him every day and get a laugh out of him. And then I'd like to have you come over here. There's a painting I did, which I talked to Joe about earlier today, and he seems to like it very much. He's probably going to wind up getting it. He has that capacity, you know, to kind of work on you a little bit. But this is stainless steel and acrylic, and the idea was to evoke a feeling of power and motion. And I haven't named it yet, so we'll see what happens. It's a lot of fun, and I had a great time doing it. And this sculpture right here is by a gentleman by the name of Cody, who lives up in Los Olivios, California, and it's California Serpentine. It's a beautiful, beautiful sculpture. This is a sculpture I did. I call it, I'll pick it up. I call it Joy. And, you know, it's 4 figures dancing. There's only one leg and one arm in each one of them, but I think it tells a story of fun and joy and love. I gave Joe Blasco a pair. I developed a pair with a red thong on it. And I gave him a silver one, I believe. And this is the gold one, and over there is the bronze, so we have Olympic pairs. But they're great fun. And I get a great kick out of them. I did this sculpture of Tom Hanks and gave it to him for his birthday. I worked with Tom for 19 years. And I tried to incorporate some of Private Ryan, some of Forrest Gump, some of Castaway. It's not of Tom's age, but it might be a little younger, but one side might be a little older. And I've tried to put all those memories that we had together. He's a wonderful man, fabulous guy, and I'm very proud of this. I took one copy off of it, and then I destroyed the mold. That's about it. And Joe, thank you for coming. And when you get back, we're going to have a lot more bronze to show you.
All right.
As you know what the ladies are doing.
Okay. I know that you have enjoyed this as much as I have. I'm hoping that you have, and that you're going to tune in again soon. And keep in mind that we still have several more episodes of the original Daniel Striepke interview right here on MUA TV. So you keep watching, all right? Because we've got a lot more makeup and hair programming right here just for you.